How's everyone doing? Are we happy? Are you ready? This is an interactive session, so there will be activities for you all to perform. One of the benefits of a community-led course is that you get to build community. So you get to talk to each other, you get to share ideas, especially when it comes around Atlassian Intelligence and Rovo. It's really important to share our knowledge and our experiences with anything new, but especially this. Are we excited? We had a lot of exciting things happen last week at the conference. Yes. Sam, I already love your participation. Before we get too deep into Rovo, just to remind everybody, Atlassian Intelligence is like that kind of like catch-all term that we use to describe the AI features that Atlassian has. And then one of those products, which we're calling apps now, is Rovo. That's its first little baby. But there are AI or Atlassian Intelligence features throughout all of the apps. And that's like the define feature that's powered by Atlassian Intelligence. Summarize, anytime you change a text, that's Atlassian Intelligence. Rovo is a separate kind of app. It's like a chat GPT. And we're going to go over that in a few minutes and you'll see it live before we discuss anything. Anyone brand new to the Atlassian ecosystem, please feel free to identify yourself. It just helps me scope how I describe things. So instead of talking like you already know what all the apps are, I would spend more time explaining some of them. But if you guys are familiar with the ecosystem, I could jump right in and start talking about Rovo. Either way, it's very customizable to who is on the call. I've been swimming in the Atlassian pool since February. Craig, do you feel like you've been drowning or like truly swimming? Like you got this, it's cool. I know there's a lot of changes. One of the feedback I get most often is like, things are always changing. And I'm like, yeah, it's interesting times in tech. Doggy paddling. Hey, we're gonna swim with you. We'll doggy paddle with you. What I don't want people to do is just straight up drown. If you ever feel like you're drowning in the Atlassian ecosystem, please reach out to me or one of the community leaders. There is, I want to say 1,000, but it seems like 1,000. There are a lot of us out there. We run all the group chats. So if you do ever feel like you're truly drowning, reach out to one of us and we will point you in the right directions. We have a lot of free tutorials. We put out a lot of free content. And sometimes people just like you wanna come down from a frantic, I'm drowning in this, like one of us can try to meet with you and be like, okay, what are you doing? What's happening here? So please don't ever drown. We're jumping right in. We're unpacking what Team 25 means for how we work. So we had a lot of announcements. We had a conference, our big annual conference this year. It was last week. We have two. We have one that's in the US and then we have one that's in Europe. Last week, 10 years in missed Team 25. Rich, you missed it. Okay, so Barcelona is happening in October. And then, of course, there's Team 26. But if you go to Barcelona, then you still would have technically gone to Teams 25. My name is Dr. Valerie Colon. I do lots of things for Atlassian. I'm a community-led instructor, community and group leader for AI and Confluence whiteboards. I do a lot of random things as well. But I'm also the host of the Jira Life. It's a YouTube channel, and it's a team of 6 of us. We recently got to interview the CEO of Atlassian, and that premieres tonight. I want to say at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on the YouTube channel. So check that out. I was behind the scenes running the camera. Yes, someone had to do that. But the team.
Welcome to Atlassian.
And here is our intro to Atlassian Community-Led Learning. Here's what it's all about.
Welcome to Atlassian Community-Led Learning, where courses meet community. More than just individuals in a virtual meeting, we're a thriving community of practice. Whether you're a seasoned expert or a curious newcomer, we invite you to share your thoughts and experiences as we navigate today's topic. If you have a question, ask it in the chat. If you know an answer, please share it. This approach moves newer users towards the inner circle, guided by those with more experience. To truly grasp the platform, we invite you to sign up for a free plan or join our demo site. Hands-on experimentation is the most effective way to learn, Let's embrace the opportunity to harness our collective knowledge, connect, and most importantly, have fun. Because learning together is a journey of endless possibilities. For information on where to view a recording of this session or download a copy of the presentation, please see the course resources.
All right, dropped a bunch of links in the chat. Guy, if you have them handy, please send them on through again for those who joined us and didn't get that link in the beginning. So there is a demo site that you can join. All right, did you attend Teams 25? If you attended Teams 25, give me some kind of emoji in the chat, or feel free to go off mute. You're in a meeting, everyone has the ability to go off mute. Don't hold back. I got one smile. I got one thumbs up. Craig went. Kitkins went. Oh my goodness. My ability to read. So there were a lot of announcements, a lot of exciting ones, some that received mixed feedback. You can catch it on demand. So if you want to listen to those keynotes, one of the major things that they announced was that Rovo, which is the AI for the Atlassian ecosystem, is now available, and it will be available to everyone by the end of the year who subscribes to the platform, but is currently available for premium and enterprise. And it's coming for standard by the end of the year. And why was this such an important announcement? Several reasons. One, the biggest complaint or the biggest hurdle for adopting Rovo into workflows was the price. It was people had to pay for an additional app that was similarly priced to all the other apps. And it was a burden because in Atlassian, we have enterprise users available for premium right now. We have enterprise users who purchase a lot of subscriptions, but then we also have free people who are on free plans. And yes, you can get these applications for free up to a certain amount of people. And it made it difficult for people that were on free plans or just like a couple of subscriptions to use the AI, especially to use it to this fullest and really incorporate it into workflows. So now it's available, and it's going to come to standard plans by the end of the year. They're making that happen, but it's already available now for premium. So what specifically happened? There were a few different announcements. I broke it down into 5 key announcements and then a bunch of enhancements. So the price updates, it's included with plans. The teamwork collection. So one of the things that Atlassian has done is grouped its apps together. I don't know if this is going to impact pricing down the line. Like you can buy it as a package instead of just buying one-off apps. I don't know what the vision is long-term for this one. But they're including Rovo into the collection called the Teamwork Collection, which has Jira, Confluence, Loom, which is the video recording that you can record meetings in and put it into your pages. And it's very well integrated. And then Rovo. That's just two of those. One of them is big enough. Oh, Liz, you're here. Liz. So Liz is one of my favorite humans. I saw her at a barbecue before Teams 25, but I didn't get to see her in person at the conference. And John, a lot of my favorite people. I'm going to depend on you guys because we're going to do a few different activities, and I'm going to need the community champions to be champions on this one. Number 3 is Rovo Studio. So they created an application that will help you do no code or low code building. Now that can be confused, but let's start off right now and not try to confuse it with the Rovo dev agents. Those dev agents are in beta. They're specialized Rovo agents that help a developer, like an assistant to a developer. Whereas Studio is like all about the coding. So if you had to associate it to any app specifically, you can associate Studio to like your Bitbucket. Like if you're in Bitbucket, you might want to also bring along Studio. But Rovo Dev Agent, you could also use in Bitbucket, but is like when a developer is working throughout their workday, they could use all of these agents to do various different things, like help them write release notes, help them review code. Like there's a whole suite to that. It's in beta. I don't have a ton of information on it right now, but I will tell you last week I interviewed some of the greatest, best people that built Rovo, so we're working on bringing the information out to everybody. And then data residency. So this is in limited availability. It's giving you the ability to control where you store the information that Rovo pulls and assembles. So the LLM, once it's in place, it doesn't change. Like they don't train the agent, they don't train the LLM once it's in place. That's done on a separate thing. There's a whole course on how Atlassian sustains and improves the LLM itself. But once it's in place until they update it and take it out and update it. But what happens is how your system learns is through the teamwork graph, and it's through manipulating some data that's within your system. Your data itself stays within its system, but that teamwork graph, you get the ability to control where that's stored. And that goes along with that the whole concept of the cloud, the specialized cloud features that make your system all internal and it's not accessible to the public clouds. So public clouds is where this, I'm like going way too in the weeds. So public cloud, basically, Atlassian has a bunch of servers that they share with all of their clients. Well, Atlassian also announced that you can have your own individual dedicated server that no one else has. They're experimenting a little with data residency in that way where, you get to control more. It's for people or organizations that have very high security requirements that need their own environment and they can't really share cloud space. The enhancements that came through, search capabilities, complex questions, a ton more agents, a ton more connectors. The benefit of Rovo is that it creates an integrated system within all the apps that you use, whether it's Atlassian apps or external apps. Like if you're working across divisions, that some people use Google, some people use Teams, some people use other products, you can all bring that in through the 50 connectors. And then actions on behalf of users across apps. So if I ask Rovo to do something in Confluence, to do something in Jira, JSM, it actually can perform those tasks. Now, I haven't experimented to see how far it goes. Like, can I tell Rovo to do something in my Google? Will it work? I don't know. If you have experimented a little bit, please do tell me. I'm going to read chat real quick. Also, I don't have to build agents in Forge. The documentation for Forge has improved, a major showstopper for non-techs. I'm reading Liz's comment in the chat. So check that out. That's a good one. Here, and then John Funk announces he's hearing there are limits to the number of executions per person, more or less. Are those defined somewhere? They are not defined somewhere I can find them. So I suspect, and again, I have not talked to Atlassian about this, but when any tech org makes something widely available, there is cost to it. And with AI, artificial intelligence in general, there's computational costs, there is processing speed costs, and I suspect someday the industry is going to limit, just like they limit automations, they're going to limit executions because the overhead cost is going to get a little high. But that's definitely a topic that we should unpack, is like the sustainability and the limitations of AI in general, and then what's happening with Rovo. So the teamwork collection includes Rovo AI agents. Is Rovo agents a subset of Rovo? Are there other Rovo features that are included in teamwork collection? So Andrew, to answer this question, we use the term agents a lot in talking about artificial intelligence, and because they play a role in what a function in AI. But the challenge when we use the word agents a lot is that it can get blurry and kind of like very nebulous on what it actually does. So where people get confused is we have a JSM virtual agent, which is your chatbot, your automated setup of the back and forth features, like when you call into a support line and you get that robot. That is your JSM virtual agent. Then you have Rovo agents, which are these tools, which I'll show you here in a demo in a minute, where you can create like little I robots that do certain functions behind the scenes for you, and you've configured them in a certain way that they do these tasks. Robots, it's not a good word for it. We're gonna have to name those something besides agents colloquially, just between us, so that you know what it really does and it gets a clear picture in your minds. Since the AI boom, a lot of governments have forgotten about limiting any yes. So an interesting thing, and especially in US government contracting, is there have been a lot of upheaval and a lot of tightening belts, but when it comes to AI, all of those contracts that are out there to compete against, they're still going forward, and they have very few limitations. Some orgs are very cautious about security, some are just like, "We want AI, period." So it's an interesting dynamic. If you have experiences to share on that, please do share during this course and also through the community group, because people need to really understand and get those use cases about how others are using Rovo and AI in general. All right, next up. So a live demo. Let me show you what it is. So since they did this big announcements, they have changed things a bit. So when you log into Atlassian and you have access to our demo site. If you can't enter our demo site today or right now during the class, try it. You can do it afterwards. I'll try to stay on for an hour or two just to let people into that site so you can see. It used to have its own app here on the side, but now it's under chat. And they're doing it to signal people this change that it's included in everything. And so when you click on chat, hopefully I'm still logged in. It's thinking about it. What you'll see here is this prompt box. Okay. You can write anything you want in this bar and get a response. Now, in our regular Atlassian Intelligence course, I go over prompt engineering and how to write something to get the best response, but this is your main feature. You can write anything in. There's also agents. This is the button to get all the pre-made agents that exist out here. So you could search your agents. They added a ton more that are pre-existing. But say, and you even have your Rovo expert, so you can ask Rovo questions about itself and how to use it. So one of the first agents you should check out is literally the Rovo agent. But say you're like, I love this service request helper, you can actually click through it and configure it yourself and say, hey, I like it, but I don't like that one thing it does. Let me change that a bit. So just to use it, you click on it and you start typing here in the box. But say you wanted to change something about it, click on those three little dots there, duplicate the agent, and hopefully it loads quickly. And then you get to change any of the information in here. Now, I've used AI to help me create agents. It's very, very meta. Like you gotta look, you look into a picture frame that's as a picture frame of you and it goes, you see yourself a million times. It's the same kind of effect. So you can go and pull up your AI and ask, okay, so what's the best prompt I should use? Because I want to change X, Y, and Z. And you just copy and paste this into your AI and it'll give you an alternative. But I can do it freely by hand. So I just changed this to version 2 so no one gets confused. And then I can change the description, but usually I don't care too much about the description. I want to change the instructions. So instead of saying, instead of saying, first ask the user, the team member they want to play a game for, first, who are you making the quiz for? I want to change that question. I literally just copy it, delete it, and then write in whatever I want. That's literally how simple it is to customize these agents, and it goes through the various different tasks it asks. When you first familiarize yourself with creating Rovo agents, duplicate a bunch of these and read the instructions to see how Atlassian is setting it up themselves. That's a kind of a way to tutor yourself into creating these custom agents. What tends to have greater impact is not necessarily the conversation starters, which is just a user experience tool, like a way to help. It's where you're pulling the source information. So what I like to do to make my Rovo agents stronger or better is to create custom data via a Confluence page or a Confluence database and specifically ask my Rovo to pull from that information. That way I know the data that it's pulling from is clean, it's concise, it's crisp, and it's going to yield me better responses. And so you can connect this to as many data sources as you want, but the quality of your agent will depend on the quality of the data that it references. So if you're referencing some crap data or some crap resources, your responses are going to be crap. If you don't reference anything, it's going to reference what is in what you have permission to within the ecosystem. So if something comes back limited, it's probably because you don't have enough data in your ecosystem or your permissions aren't wide enough. Sometimes when people ask me, like, we use the same prompt, why is your responses better? And it's because I have greater access within the ecosystem and it's pulling from more information. And that's when we both use the same prompt. Experiment on this when you have uh, the access, and you can, if you can, so I hit create and then it generates it. I do like to keep my agents pretty clean, so I delete the ones that I create in here just randomly. But that is modifying or customizing a pre-existing agent. But then you can go in here and create a brand new, just hit the create button, a create button, an agent from scratch. And it has two methods you can do it. You can do it using the guided way. So they'll ask you questions and you answer the responses and you create your agent. Or you could skip it and do the manual setup. Sometimes I jump straight to the manual setup because I use the AI to help me write it. And I want a good foundation. But the guided one is equally as good. Like it really walks you through by asking you questions on what you want your agent to do. Now, when you're in the ecosystem, the apps, the Confluence, Jira, look for this chat feature. And it's not just the chat bot, it's this chat with a little star on it. And that is your AI within Confluence. Let's see if I can pull it up with minimal challenge. And so you could use Rovo in any one of your apps. So let's say you see it here. There's the chat feature there, and I'm in Confluence. And then I have gone on a page that is not mine, but you see the summarized floating toolbar here. Some people hate this one. I don't mind it as long as this is not like floating all over the place and it's stuck to the bottom corner. I have no issue with it. So you click on it, and if you had access to this page, which I don't, you could change what it says here with a bunch of different options. That is Atlassian Intelligence. It's one of those included feature, but your Rovo is up here. And then it comes out as a side toolbar here. All right. And then if you wanted to use a specific agent, you could click on agents and then pop them up here. If you want to see your past comments, usually when you open it, it starts with what is Rovo. But you'll have your chat history here. And yes, you can clear out your chat history. Liz says, although a challenge with quotas, making sure that your target and action process, etc., is narrow as possible. This is a good tip coming through to you from Liz on the chat. So please check out the chat for more insights from Liz. Anyone else who has tips, please share them in the chat. So that is kind of your overview, a demo of Rovo, what it looks like, how to create them. It's not, as you see, it's not very complex. It's not very difficult to use. It's very simple, but powerful. Now, what does this mean? This is the first activity, and you're seeing my cheat sheet on the bottom. That's the answers. But is Rovo still being rolled out? So Rovo is included in Premium and Enterprise right now. They're going to roll it out included in Standard by the end of the year. So everyone should see it. It's there. except for standard, you have to wait a little bit. All right. So our first activity is, what does it mean? So I've given you the 5 updates. What does this mean? What is the problem that the price update is trying to solve? Who benefits the most? And what would you ask before rolling it out? Now, I'm grouping people with those community leaders or Tees. If that is Alex, I need you in a room. Um, you're going to talk about these and answer these questions. There will be no test after this. This is just an opportunity to share your knowledge with each other and try to think through, like, what are the use cases for Rovo Studio? This is a part of that. No, Alex. Oh, just Ortiz. Interesting. Hi, Ortiz. Thank you for responding. All right. I'm going to break you up into groups. Any questions, John Funk or Liz, before we get started? I did not warn John Funk or Liz that they were going to be group leaders before. Usually I like to give the champions a heads up that we're going to do that. But this is a small group, so I don't think that you'll have too many challenges. So I'm just going to randomly assign people to breakout rooms. Hopefully Liz and you don't have the same room. Ready, set, it's going to happen. I will see you guys back in about 5 minutes, 6 minutes. 3, 2, 1. All right, we all should be back. John Funk, Liz, are you ready for the unpack? There's Liz. Liz, you're on mute.
Yes.
Yep. It's a,
There
it auto. It, I just talked at people. I'm so sorry, group, but we don't have a lot of insights yet because we don't have a lot of access yet. It sounds like so. First 2 questions. Where's my word? Thank you. They give you that back. Microsoft has decided to make decisions for me, so I have to tell it no. But it took just the first 2 notes for a price update. We don't know yeah, much of the pricing and stuff yet because not all of us are on premium and enterprise. Plus, I don't think a lot of us have looked into it yet just because, and this is rolling into the second question of teamwork collection. No orgs are talking about it yet. No corporations talking about it yet. So we haven't heard a lot about that yet. I actually saw something on the pricing. I want to make sure I didn't lie to my group. That was, I think it was bringing the cost down on Loom now. It's like average of $15 per head or something like that, or per user now. That's going to narrow down. And if I find the infographic, I should have screenshot it when I saw it. I knew it. But I saw that it was justifying the price of Loom because I know that was a scare off in the beginning. Rovo Studio, I'll let the folks know that's going to be the new no code, low code. It's just like Jira Service Management. When you're making an automation, it's drag drop. And if you want practice, just because it's for kids does not mean it is not good enough for you to learn. Is Scratch. Scratch is a block coding program for elementary school kids. Go get it, go try it, and that way you can burn a trial on that and not burn any trials that you need in the Atlassian ecosystem. So look into that. And our dev agents, we talked about that, but we don't have access yet. So this is in the beta. And but that's where you're going to really flourish if you're a non-tech, non-dev, non-programmer. And Forge is a nightmare documentation to follow. Odyssey, where you get your little lantern and just hope that you find the right answers sometimes. And some of your answers in some weird spots too. So yeah, it gets away from that and makes a really easy and fun. I mean, you get to see what you can make. And then we have data residency. I said, I'm sorry, data center people. That's all I got. That's all I have. That's a bummer. Migrations are a bummer. Connections to migrations are a bummer. They're a bummer for system admins and network admins too. We're like, awesome. Get to make tech docs to things we don't know yet. Rad. So it's going to be interesting. I know. So that's kind of what we had. And Dr. Valerie, I have from the Pakistan group. I think it's Indoor. They had a little graph that, or a visual aid, if you will, that supplements yours quite well. And I don't know how to get it to anybody, but I took notes in it. And
okay, get it to me. Whoever has the original, please do send it to me and I will share it out. Okay, this is why I love Liz. Like, Liz will break it down to you real style. She does not sugarcoat it, but she also throws out some additional resources. She's like, "Don't be afraid of this. Go do it. Here's this thing for kids." My first experience in coding was I was K through 12 education, and they were starting to do courses for kids for coding. And let me tell you, it was a lot of fun. Like, I don't know why don't teach adults to learn coding with the cartoons that they do with kids. So like, please do check those out. So one of the things is Rovo is for everybody that subscribes. So if you don't have standard, if you have standard and it's not for you yet, like it's not the end of the year, so they haven't rolled it out, please, please, please either sign up for a free trial or join our demo site so that you can experiment with it. It's coming to you. Like everybody is, if you subscribe to the Atlassian ecosystem, you're going to get it on some level. So start experimenting it with it now. John Funk, what did your team talk about?
Yes, it was a good discussion, kind of covering sort of the three things all at one time. With we didn't get into the Rovo dev agents, but as far as the problem it's solving, sounds like a lot dealing with being able to connect to, say, knowledge bases for JSM and being able to help the help desk folks out. And sort of, who benefits with that? Well, obviously the agents are going to benefit because they have information at their fingers a lot quicker. The organization benefits because you're benefiting the customer by getting better answers to them and quicker to them. But one of the interesting things I want to point out that Atlassian benefits from this because there hasn't been much adoption with Rovo because nobody's willing to pay the $20 per head to experiment with it, and so this frees all that up, and so you should see more adoption across the ecosphere. So Atlassian obviously is going to benefit from that, but I think we kind of all benefit from it because the tool learns more and more and more as things get put out there. Um, so that's interesting. The part about the private clouds, that's going to open up a lot of things. So not just having Rovo free, but a lot of security concerns. They're still not going to experiment with it, even if you just made it free. But if you start putting it into an environment now where you have private clouds, well, now you can start doing experimenting, and the organizations are going to start opening it up, whether it be fintech or government or whatever they are. So, Dr. Vala, coming from the Mid East region for the last couple of years, I lived in Dubai and could not get Atlassian to even talk about data residency in the Middle East at all. And so now I'm back in the States. This might actually solve some of that for you customers in Pakistan, and others there in the Middle East might open that up. So it's not just those that are in, say, U.S. government or fintech, but it should open it up for a lot more people as well. One of the things that also kind of emphasized was, okay, well, a lot of companies and a lot of organizations don't have their KBs built out yet. So maybe there's some things that are external that they could connect to in the short term that are just general kind of things. Here's how you solve this problem. But it kind of puts an onus on the organizations to really start building out those knowledge bases, whether they be in Confluence or they be in another tool, things that are specific for them. That's going to really help, and a lot of people are going to benefit from that as well. So some of the questions involved around that, again, are the cost with the limit as far as objects being able to be executed or cost or things. And then sort of as always, are they just kind of putting the hook out there and getting a hook in our mouth and we start using it, and then, oh, there comes the price increase. So there's always that kind of concern, or it begins to be charged later on. So that's kind of it. Really good discussion. Appreciate the folks in the room doing that. And again, I would just echo what Val said earlier. Play with it. Start using it now. If you're in a standard environment, get your hands on the demo area because you need to learn it and be prepared. If you're in that environment, start building your KBs out. Get those done. Start playing with the tool. See what will do, and then when it rolls out to your site, you're ready to go. So those are our comments.
I love that. So one of the things that I really try not to not have breakout rooms, even if it's just me, because the people who host the breakout rooms especially when I can get champions to do it, adds a perspective that is new and different, and you get a really great diversity of comments. So at John Funk, I would have never thought Middle East would have that kind of challenge. And so, anyone out there, if you need some tips and tricks about private servers, private cloud environments, go to John Funk, ask him a ton of questions. It's funny that the second you come back here is when they release the information. Like, John just came back. He had so many opportunities if we just had that ability. But now we have it. So John, we're gonna have to work it back. But you can't go back to Dubai, just so you know. Like, I appreciated the time zone differences, but I like having you here more on my time zone. That's just selfish of me to say, but true. Um, and you brought up really Atlassian does benefit. There's some benefit there. So do keep an eye out on what is those benefits. Why would a vendor ever make something free to everybody? And from what I understand, it was that challenge of adoption because there were the barrier. If your AI is similarly priced to something out there that has been out there, Atlassian works with ChatGPT. They work with OpenAI on this technology, but OpenAI has their own AI. And if you have that, it's really hard to convince people that you need this other thing. You have to spend a great deal of time explaining the differences. What is the differentiator? So the differentiator on this side is that it's embedded and it pulls from your org specific data, and it has the connectivity embedded within your workflow. OpenAI is starting to do that. Now you can connect certain things with OpenAI, but this is specifically designed for the Atlassian ecosystem. Will they increase the prices later? I would say that's an industry question that we should ask as a whole for artificial intelligence. From the trends that are out there, it's really hard once you make something included to then make it priced, like to say, okay, now we're going to charge you something. So that's always a fear. They could always do it, but it's going to be a harder lift for them to start then increasing the price. What I do think will happen as an industry as a whole is you'll start seeing limitations on uses. Like, we have limitations on automations. I think that's how people are going to start trying to regulate AI usage, is by numbers of executions. So keep an eye out. Those are some things to be clear about. You guys covered everything that I have in my cheat sheet to cover. The teamwork collection is more about cross-functional teams and having a way to package it. So like the impact is more from a marketing standpoint, in my point of view, of like, it's just easier to sell something as a package versus selling these individual apps. Rovo Studio, I think you covered it, Liz. Who creates it, how to do it. I love the way you broke that down. Same with how, John, you cover data residencies. The Rovo development agents, that's in beta. Who benefits the most? Software engineering teams and development leads on the agents themselves, because they're doing that they're doing not coding, they're doing those developer or engineering activities as their everyday task, and those agents are there to support it. But for Rovo Studio, anyone can use it. Anyone can start experimenting. Anyone can start creating something, as Liz said. Now we have 15 minutes left and one more activity. Are you all ready? Let me go and reshare my screen again. This is the cheat sheet that I have. I usually have some really good presentation notes, which is why people want to steal my presentations all the time. I just gave it to John Funk, and Liz, if I could find you on the Slack channel, I will give it to you as well. And you can give these presentations. So since AI is widely available, like, we're trying to get users to adopt it. I encourage everyone to share your experiences, to give presentations. Don't be hesitant. I don't have the monopoly here. So enhancing your everyday work tasks. So what we're going to do is, I have 3 examples, and we're going to run through these examples and what tools you could use to improve these workflows. Now, this was not an original Valerie idea. I interviewed a bunch of Atlassians that worked with Rovo. One of them was my favorite, Sharif. I love them all equally, but Sharif holds that special place. And he was like, I said, "Hey, how do you get people started? Like the first step in any challenging essay is writing the first word. That difficulty of implementing any new technology is like, what tool should I use first?" So what he suggested is writing down your typical workflow, keeping that workflow the same, but saying, okay, what pieces of these workflows can I change or adopt with AI? And so I have 3 use cases: marketing, human resources, and your support team. Now, for marketing, I took content publishing workflow. Even if you don't work for marketing, you have this if you use social media. You have to publish something on your social media channel. And what are those steps? So you have your planned content, write a draft, review and edit, publish, and track performance. Now, you could use your Rovo agent. You remember there's that agent that says how to use Rovo? Click on that bad boy. Now, if you all were in the system now, I would have you do it right now at home. Click on it. If you do have it, go ahead and click on it. Throw this into your Rovo, how to use Rovo agent, very meta. Copy and paste or type this in. How can I use Rovo agents or features to enhance or automate these steps? And then write the steps right there in it. And what it'll do is it pop out opportunities for you to use AI. How to get AI to show you how to use AI. Now, without using AI, let's just have a conversation. Go off mute if you can, raise your hand, put it in the chat, any way you want to communicate with me. I am open to it. What is one way that you think AI, any AI, it doesn't even have to be Atlassian AI, could help with this workflow? What's an opportunity you see here? You can go into Rovo, click on a button. You got to prompt it correctly. Let's see if I can do this live. With proper prompting, let's see, marketing. Let's see if there's any marketing agents out here. Communication crafters, customer insights, decision making, ops guide. These are all the ones that pre-exist out there. So I will take comms crafter because it's kind of the workflow that I'm talking about is kind of like a comms crafter. Now I want to say, help me create, and what's my task? A content calendar plan. A content calendar plan for marketing. I want you to include, and then you list off what you want to include. I do not have any context around this. Include announcing the Rovo classes I have for this year. All right. And one of the things that I love to use AI for is that first round of ideation. Now, I'm not going to copy and paste this response directly. Can you all see my screen? I just want to make sure. Yes, you can don't directly copy and paste this straight into your final Word product. Read it over and add your experience. And if it doesn't sound right, reprompt it and say, okay, this part doesn't sound right. Give me this part. I do a lot of, hey, fact check your response in all the AI that I use, whether it's Atlassian Intelligence or OpenAI. I say, because I'm a PhD and anything that goes out there in the world has the potential to come back at me of like, hey, Dr. Valerie, you said this and like, this is not true. So I say, hey, fact check this and tell me the sources that you're referencing. And then I click through to those sources and read them and check the validity of those sources. Just because it's on the internet doesn't mean it's right. And just because it's in your database or in your work database in your Confluence pages, don't assume that that information is correct. That's why we have to clean up our data a little bit when we prepare for using AI. So now I have this outline for my content plan. What I'm going to do from here is I want to put it in a Confluence page. Let's see if we have that feature yet. And then, so it's supposed to be able to do actions on your behalf. I don't know if they've released that to my system yet. We'll see. And yes, it has. Now I can click on this and get the space, and it put it in someone else's space. So my space is here. It put it in this person's space because that was the last space that I clicked into. Remember when I showed you earlier in the course? Make sure it's in your space before you publish the page, just so you know. If it's in someone else's space, you might run into some permission challenges. And then I'm going to say, yeah, I mean, this is pretty good. This is kind of what I want. So I'm going to give some feedback to my Rovo. It's important to give continuous feedback to your AI or your Rovo so that it continues to give you good responses. If it does not give you good responses, what'll pop up is a feedback box. Write specifically what went wrong so that it continually alters or enhances that teamwork graph so that your answers improve. So I'm going to publish this page. And I think for time purposes, we're only going to go through one example. That's
Dr. Valerie, I have a question for you. That
yes.
would be a use case for this, and I'll be fast. If you ever
Feedback.
use Buffer, Buffer's awesome because you make one thing in Confluence and you share it, and it shares to Facebook, Twitter, all of your social media. Can the Robo agent do that as well after this? Does it have that capability to do an external third-party share also?
I would hope one day. So there are 50 connectors, and I have to read what specific connectors there are out there. If Buffer is one of them, that would be huge. And
Wouldn't that be great?
yes, marketing is a big group for Atlassian. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was some kind of publishing, like marketing publishing tool that it would go directly to it. But I did have it to take me a second to find where they like saved my page, but here it is. Here's the page. It's right here. It's within my space. So this is my Confluence space. Um, and now I can go in here and use additional AI features. Now I'm going to close my RovoBot just because it's in my way, and I'm going to click edit. Now, remember that floating toolbar that everybody doesn't like? There's that. You can click on it that way, or you can click on in the static toolbar, there's that right feature. So say I was like, this overview is really short. You can improve the writing itself, or you could say like, hey, expand the overview to give more context. And so it's analyzing, it's going to spit out an option. This is really long. I don't ever recommend giving people more information. It's always cutting down, but like I could just simply replace it. And so if you look back into the workflow, you can almost do every single thing through, and Liz's question goes to the publish. Can we publish it through Rovo? If you connected it to a connector and there's a connector available, you can publish it through Rovo. Track performance. So if Buffer exists, Buffer tracks performance, but I can track performance on my Confluence page. I also could ask a Rovo agent. I can create and ask a Rovo agent to track the analytics. So in the Atlassian ecosystem, there is a specific app called Analytics, and there's Rovo features within that. So you can the potential here is endless, which is why I really want to pool the community to see what are the best use cases people are using it. How are they using it most often? But that kind of gives you an overview of how to do it in a workflow. Now, just for time's sake, I'm going to go back. You can do these other ones to challenge yourself. I'll put a PDF version of this presentation in our course resources, which is in that Guy, if you're still on, throw those links up in the chat. Our course resources have a ton of things in them. You can get lost in them. And if you do start like, wow, this is a lot of reading, use your Atlassian Intelligence to summarize. Give me the highlights, ask it questions. That's why I put so much information in this course resources so that you have the ability to do that. Now, last but not least, are questions. We have about 3 minutes. Any questions? While I have John Funk and Liz on the line, abuse them. And myself, abuse me. Maybe giving feedback is the best practice for a flow like that. Yep, I agree. All right, I'm not seeing any questions pop up in the chat. Here's a QR code and the link for our course resources. But I want to thank everyone for participating. I know this is a big shift. This course, I had to update it really last minute because of all of those announcements last week. I didn't sign the NDA to get the information beforehand because I was giving a lot of interviews and I didn't want something to accidentally slip. So when everybody heard it on that live announcements, I heard it as well. And the first thought in my head was like, oh, I got to update all my courses. And that leads to our special announcement is because Rovo is such a key feature for the ecosystem for the time that we're in technology. Atlassian has reached out to do a pairing between me and a senior PM on the Rovo side. Now, I can't disclose who that is just now because literally they told me yesterday. They asked me if I was willing to participate yesterday, and I said yes. And I haven't met with this person yet. But I will be these courses going forward. They'll still be every month. We might even have some trending topics in there. Uh, I will be joined by a senior PM from Atlassian. So join in, follow along on this journey. It's going to be fun, but also some challenging times. I expect some challenging times in the future. Some things may or may not debut as we hope they will. But I'm really excited. If you have signed up for future courses, do please expect that I will be changing those titles because we're going to do a whole curriculum design in this partnership. So thank you all for joining. I will take any last minute questions you have as we wrap up. Liz and John, thank you so much for running the groups. You did an amazing job. I love our community champions, and I say the word love a lot, and I really do. My heart goes around both of you. And all of our champions because they are really just genuinely kind and good human beings. Like, I have yet to have like a major beef with any of them because they were mean. Like, thank you all. And it was so good seeing you all last week at Teams 25. It was exhausting and beautiful, but there's the long list of people I'm going to miss. And those of you who didn't come, I will see you next year. And with that, I'm going to close things down and have a good one.